Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle with Kevin Duling, KD Investors. Livestock futures seeing a little bit of red as we move through the mid-session with the grain trade to the plus side. And I guess the big question here today, Kevin, is, after the higher close yesterday, we maybe scored some reversals. What do we need today to confirm those reversals? Do you think they're going to hold?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the sellers are still present in corn and soybeans. You're still seeing, um, you know, selling activity come into those. We got the jump because of the export sales, and plus some new sales as well to China. So that kind of goosed everything a little bit after yesterday's reversal. So, but we still got a ways to go. Corn's got to get up probably to that 455, 460 area before that chart starts looking better. Soybeans have got they've got a good 30 cents to go as well. So we've got, it's hard to get excited on a Friday. We'll just kind of see what happens. And the cattle, they broke out technically this week, and now they're waiting for the on-feed report. So, today's little sag in price is expected, I would say.
Soybeans, I know you've been watching the monthly continuation chart there, haven't you?
Right. Yeah, we talked about that last fall, and it just looks horrible. It's just giant head and shoulders top, and I think that keeps a lot of funds on the sell side of this thing, and is partially why we've seen no traction out of the fairly historic drought we've seen in South America. With the yield reports coming in below expectations, and it's going to take something pretty bullish to get those guys out of that pattern. And as we keep evolving in markets and having to more or less trade against the computer trade, you have to look at what they're looking at and just kind of throw the supply and demand to the side a little bit, and it makes very challenging marketscape. So,
Kevin, you mentioned the 11 million bushel sale of soybeans to China this morning, which was interesting to see considering we'd heard maybe talk of cancellations even this week out of China. What's your sense of whether China really needs this business? Did they just find value? Are they filling reserves? What's going on?
We've got a lot going on there. Their crops weren't that great this year. The wheat crop had a big problem. The corn prices are elevated, domestically, and then you've got just a massive hog herd. So they were going to need record amounts of grain anyway. And, and then also this is our election year. So, I think that could easily throw markets a loop there. And China's probably wanting to stockpile a little bit, just to, are we going to go back to a phase one trade deal next year? Is that likely? And so maybe they're trying to stockpile ahead of that. You've also got the Taiwan election. So you've got a lot of outside chaos that, it seems like they're going to be well prepared for when the time comes. So,
do you think we've escaped soybean cancellations at lower prices, at least for the time being? Then does this signal that?
I think it does. Yeah, that's a great. That's all the bear chatter this last couple of weeks was, I just guess they're going to cancel. They're going to cancel. I was like, well, no, they're not going to cancel. They're still buying. So, and they bought wheat this week as well. They bought a corn cargo. So, I'm sorry, but it's 1/6 of the population, and they need grain. So, there's really no reason for them to cancel at this time.
Yeah. So you mentioned China on the weekly report here in terms of wheat business. And so kind of flying under the radar there a little bit. Let's talk technically about the wheat market as well. Kansas City and Minneapolis making new contract lows yesterday before we put in those reversals. Chicago's chart doesn't look quite as bad, though.
Yeah, Chicago's got a different pattern altogether. We didn't make new lows this week, at least yet. You can make out a head and shoulders bottom if yesterday's low holds. We saw the big exports, this week. So, the wheat's kind of funny because you don't get the fancy daily announcements. You have to wait for the weekly report, and then just a massive amount of hard red spraying and white wheat got sold this week. So, I would really like to see those protein wheats start to lead the way up. I think Minneapolis structure is fantastic, with the record commercial long and hedge fund short, and the deliverable stock so low. It's got a lot of potential. I don't know when that's going to pop, but I'm encouraged by today. But it's still not leading the way higher today. It's still kind of the dog of the three. So got some work to do yet.
What's your thought about shipping issues in terms of wheat, especially in the Red Sea region through the Suez Canal? It looks like Ukraine is maybe seeing some hardships because of it.
A little bit, yep. I mean, I think the grain shipments are down 40% through the Suez there. Um, so far we're not. Maybe we're starting to see a little shift to the Pacific Northwest. A lot of the, you had 500,000 tons that's going to get shipped out of the Pacific Northwest that got logged in the books in today's report. So that's a good sign. The Panama Canal still, not in great shape. So I mean, it's improving, but I think grain's still the low one on the totem pole. So
Yeah.
it should be an advantage to us on the West Coast, and I've been kind of shocked that it hasn't taken off yet. So
No doubt. You mentioned cattle on feed report coming out this afternoon. We're seeing both sides of steady here in terms of the cattle market activity going into that report, but we've built in some pretty bullish expectations. What if we don't get them?
Well, if we don't get the bullish report like everybody wants, I mean, anytime everybody's expecting one report, that's always asking for trouble. I would not be surprised to see this market back off down to the breakout point. It's in what, 4 or 5 bucks cheaper, and just test that point and see. We've got rumors of the weights coming down pretty good, which I think everybody expects there to be a bubble on that with low weights, but some of that could just be caused by the cold weather too. So
yeah, and technically we've looked really good this week. So if we get a bullish report, we could really take off here, you think, or will we run back up into some chart resistance again?
Well, there's a big gap on the charts around 250 in the April, and that's kind of my target. I think
Yeah.
short term, if we could get back up there, that'd be pretty good. And fundamentally, I think we can. It's just how's the news flow happen? How's everything go in the meantime? So.
And crude oil, a little bit of pressure there today, but actually from a chart perspective, you think maybe we're close to a breakout?
Yeah, crude oil looks good. They keep trying to bury that thing, and it gets down to $70 and keeps bouncing and keeps bouncing. And we're only about $1 away from what looks like a pretty good chart breakout in that market. And given the Red Sea and what's going on back there in the Middle East, geez, you think we'd be up another $40-50 from where we are, and it just hasn't happened. And I like crude oil. I like to see that market move. And one of my old peers said, don't ever complain about the high fuel prices, because that grain's going to follow. So, but so far we just haven't seen any response to that. But we're close. I feel like we're close to breaking that out. So.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of surprise we haven't put in more war premium into that crude oil market. All right, thanks for joining us. That is Kevin Duling with KD Investors and Markets Now.